TGIF, Warriors. We made it through another week. Hi, Ricardo. I've been thinking about you. Nice to see you. Everyone doing okay? Third drive, USD SEC, manifesting. Could do a little bit more work up here. You know, still positive on the week, but it's developing. And you can even get throwovers, right? We never even reached towards this wedge line up here. But it's good. You need some negative action to get the RSI structure. You know, you have some nice divergence on the daily, but some of the shorter term stuff is not ideal, like the 4 hour, you know, pretty high reading at the top. But now if we get another shot, maybe marginal new highs, it won't confirm. The 1 hour, I don't think will confirm. It's pretty, you know, we were diverging up in this range yesterday when I was talking about it. So, but it worked for a nice scalp anyway, right? 903, 893. Not bad. So is everyone doing okay? It's our hope that FACE is adding value to what you're trying to accomplish as a trader. Just want to give you the reminder, because this is in cement. Prices changed July 2nd. You know, I was just thinking about it. You know, trying to trade successfully Forex might be as difficult as trying to climb Mount Everest on your own. So would you ever attack a mountain like that without guides? So here are the guides. I don't think there are any guides that offer free trials to take you up the mountain. Everyone knows Blake, Greg, award winner. People are afraid to compete with him on FX Street now. Stelios, guy really knows fundamentals. He's 100% on every pattern in play he's put out since the business began. Steve gives you breakdowns here in FACE, but you're not getting the whole picture. You know, you're getting a piece of the picture. That guy Pinkert, who interrupts people all the time. Amanda, who really runs a, you know, it's not easy moderating a room of 100 traders and to keep the decorum in a fashion that it's effective for people. And Amanda does that. Joe does that in the Asian sessions. He's a television star now. Andre has some of the coolest looking charts I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of charts in my career. So here are your guides up the trail. You could try and do it alone. You could try and, you know, get what you can from FACE every day, and you know what? There's plenty. I just want to impart some knowledge, though. If you spend your whole life trying not to pay for anything, because, you know, I asked my doctor for a trial, free trial, he wouldn't give it to me. But if you spend your whole life attempting not to pay for anything, then it's going to be difficult for you to get paid. Okay, because it comes back to you. You know, you don't want to pay anybody. You know, I had a grocery delivery person yesterday come by and help me. I can't carry heavy stuff up the stairs anymore. You know, some people stiff them and don't even give them a tip for their labor and for their service. So anyway, something to think about. You know, if you don't give, how can you receive? You know, and if you receive, you have to give. So one-way streets, yin yang. You see it in the markets all the time. There's laws of nature. Some people call it the secret. It's no secret. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I do have to say that this move in the dollar, though, today kind of came out of the blue. Where did it happen? In Europe? All the reversals happen when I'm sleeping. So this candle here, now people think it's a lock, that the dollar's heading lower. That's a pretty negative day. I think we're lower on the week. I was just really surprised. Well, you know what? It's still a blue candle on the week. Anyway, a lot of people are saying that's it. We're on our way to 92. And, I think eventually we're going here too. It's, whether or not we have one more jiggle, one more push. I don't know what would do it, just to clean out the bears who we've had a few weeks, but you know what, they could be right. Anyway, this move surprised me today. The S&Ps are not surprising me. Seasonally, end of quarter, this is it. Window dressing, but I still think they're bearish. Still going to be a negative week, right? Still a negative week. NASDAQ still a negative week. So I'm looking for spots in the next week or so to reestablish short positions there. I think it's just beginning, especially in the NASDAQ. So if you didn't catch the top on the third drive, you're not late. Look what contained the break yesterday. The 50-day held it. But I do think that this will give way, and looking for a failing rally. I have some areas in mind. So the major message is, guys, save yourself some money. And also, besides saving yourself some money, what you get in face is kind of like the simulation of the true package that, is more than an hour of analysis. It's, almost 24/6, getting, all the apps and getting all the push alerts and everything. So I'm not the only one that thinks this is a good crew. I talked about Greg winning awards. Well, so is ForexAnalytix. So I don't know how much energy Blake has today on a Friday, and I'm curious. I know Blake said one thing about Euro that I'm paying attention to. If we get through this week's highs, it should fly, but we're still 70 pips away from that, right, Blake?
Tired.
Yeah, okay, it sounded like Mr. Ed. Anyway, so you think we're going to blow through?
Mr. Flatulence. What?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad I inspire you.
Yes, you do. I am tired. Fridays are just absolutely brutal. But hey, you know what? There's no World Cup games today.
Oh, so that's why the Euro popped.
So
was it news?
Yeah, that was it. So just real quick, the overnight session. What happened is it was like 4 o'clock in the morning in Europe, and the European Union leaders at their summit reached a late night, or you could call it early morning deal on migration, and the deal, it apparently pleased the market enough to spike the euro dollar, quite a bit higher. And I was actually eating dinner, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up, and I'm, we had one of my kids' friends over for Taco Thursday. It's supposed to be Taco Tuesday, but we ended up doing Taco Thursday, and my phone's buzzing around, and I'm like, I better go see what's going on. And a few minutes later, and then I sat down and realized that everything popped quite aggressively, and because you don't expect sometimes the yen may move and you go, oh, okay, well, it's, something out of Japan or maybe some, risk appetite or risk aversion or something. But, it was euro. I mean, it was really the dollar pretty much complex, across the board. And that's what it was. I didn't expect any news to come out of Europe, and I don't think a lot of people did. I ended up scalping the euro for like 10 pips. I was way late. I mean, I'm talking 10 minutes behind what had happened. And I think I bought the euro like 33, sold it at 43, just a few pips from where we're at right now, like 10 pips away from where we're at right now. But it was one of those like, I bought it and then I'm up 10 pips. I sold it and I'm like, I don't want to hold it overnight because who knows, a lot of times in Asia, they just end up unwinding everything that happens. So, but this was not the case overnight. Overnight, the euro continued to rally, and the euro's holding on to its gains. So, and it's a really choppy. It is a choppy environment. I really have no huge opinion on the dollar at this stage in the game. I think it's kind of dangerous being too bullish or bearish, but a couple things I will point out.
Want to grab the charts, buddy?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. So let me grab everything really quick. Okay, so here we are. So yeah, here's the spike up in the euro dollar overnight, and like I said, I'm not I picked it up late. I bought it like right around here, sold it here. Like, this is, I literally traded within like this candle right here. And I had a bid overnight to buy it at 116, never reached it. And, because I thought, well, if it dips down to 116, I'd be a buyer down there. So, but it never got there. We just ended up holding on to our gains overnight as I was sleeping. So the euro's still holding up pretty well, obviously. Now, as far as the rest of the market goes, yesterday, and I'm going to take you over to the cable. I bought the pound yesterday, and I got out of it just around the same price. It was like more of a scalp. I was kind of holding on to it just in case we would close above 131. We didn't, and we slumped back again. But the chart I have been bringing up to ForexAnalytix subscribers. If you use ForexAnalytix, you have let's go over basic technical analysis. Let's go look at the chart. This is our daily chart. We're in a descending wedge, right? So I'm like, I'm warning people that, not to be too bearish down here at the 127% extension. And you can see what the pound has done since then. We've rallied, substantially overnight. But I'm not convinced that that the pound's ready to turn either. I caught some slack for being bearish the cable when we were trading here. But, I had stuck to my guns on not being bullish until we broke above this blue trend line. And now we're getting close to it again. And so it's really hard, excuse me, it's really hard for me to be bullish the cable until we break above that blue trend line. But, the pound, one of the unique things about the cable yesterday is what do you know? And I'm going to ask you guys really quick. Dale, are you here? I'm not sure if
I'm here.
Okay, what do you notice about this particular chart that that stands out? Now, this is a tricky one. This is a really, really tough question.
I mean, the obvious, it's a falling wedge. That to me is the overriding picture, is the wedge, and we're compressing into this.
You see this double top here?
Yeah, so it's a measured move now?
Well, it's always been a measured move, but what's interesting is we didn't complete it until yesterday.
Okay, that's it. So it's fulfilled its objective.
Right. So if you you know, extend this over. Let's extend that all the way over. Before yesterday, it had unfinished business. We dropped, and I thought, I'm like, okay, well, that was close enough. We completed it, right? And we completed the double top. But actually, we went down, hit it one more time, and completed that double top. Now that double top, we've been talking about this ever since we, you know, broke down at 137. So this is not anything new. If you've been listening on this webinar for the last month and a half, you're very familiar with. We were talking about a big double top in the pound dollar. Well, it has actually completed as of yesterday. It never really completed, although, you know, I thought, well, it was pretty damn close. So, you know, that was probably it. But considering we never broke this downtrend line either, I'm like, well, you know, maybe there is still more downside. And when we hit it yesterday, I'm like, okay, that double top did complete. So now, does that make me bullish the cable? Not necessarily, but I will tell you, and I'm going to reiterate, we get above this blue trend line, which comes in, you know, roughly around 132. I mean, that ultimately, that's where we have to break. We have to break above 132. That would make me bullish the cable near term. Now, obviously, there's a lot of news that surrounds the pound regarding Brexit, but I think it's overdone to the downside. I mean, you take the pair, Dale, since we peaked in April.
Yeah.
We have moved. We have lost 9%.
Yeah.
9. That's a big flipping move. It's a big move. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't go further. I'm just saying it's pretty big, probably a little overdone. So the risk is higher. Now, I think from here, the risk is higher. I'm not long. I'd like to be long, but I'm not long. Now, there's something else that could really fortify dollar weakness moving forward. What is, well, okay, yes, but that's not what I was looking for. That was not what I'm looking for. What is one of the best correlated assets to the dollar, if not the best correlated asset to the dollar?
Gold.
Okay, gold. You're right. Precious metals. Now let's take a look at gold. Here's gold. Gold, as you called it, Dale, bearish. You know, I was like, if we can get above 1310 and above the 200-day moving average, I'm going to be bullish. We had one spike above there,
Right.
and we failed miserably, and now we are really close. Now, this is a trend line, and I'll profess to you any day of the week, I am not perfect by any stretch of the means. I take my trend lines, I adjust them on the fly. I don't, you know,
they're not in cement, man.
No. And you know what?
Draw them with invisible ink.
Yes, exactly. We are really close to, and matter of fact, this is the cash market. We could do this. Gold futures. Let's take a look.
Break the trend a little bit and then reverse. Is that what you're going to say? I'm just trying to be a mind reader.
Maybe not, but if you look, if you take the futures contract,
oh yeah, they're right there.
We're there.
Yeah.
Okay. So and let's also take this into account. This is a daily relative strength, right? We're very oversold levels. Look, we bounce from these support levels and relative strength. We've bounced multiple times. You know, this was maybe an outsized move. You take this relative strength and you go over here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're there. So I don't know about you. I wouldn't want to be short gold right now.
No.
Right? Okay. So
no, if the dollar's turning too, you know, if we get the dollar turn, the gold, or you know,
yeah,
let's lining up, aren't they?
And okay, so when I trade, okay, I love to do analysis, and trade when I have multiple levels of confirmation. Multiple modes of confirmation. That meaning I want a fib line or fib level intersecting with a trend line, intersecting with or then I have a divergent relative strength, and I have multiple fib levels all corresponding on the same price, and then that confluence gives me the confidence that I could establish a position there. Same goes for correlated assets. If I'm like, okay, I'm looking to possibly sell the dollar, go long the cable, all right, or go long the euro, or short the dollar yen, whatever, whatever I decide I wanted to do. And then I find some assets like gold that is right on support and very oversold. That could really convince me, especially today, and obviously this isn't necessarily something that needs to be done at this very moment in time, but if I'm sitting there going, okay, I want to buy the pound if it breaks above 152, I'm going to feel a whole hell of a lot better when doing that if tomorrow, or let's say Monday, I have and I'm going to draw this for you. If I look at gold and I see a big green bar on Monday that's right here off of this key level of support, and I know that gold's bouncing, that means the dollar is going to, generally speaking, be a little weaker, then I might be more confident in buying some cable come Monday, Tuesday. You know what I mean? So hopefully that that made sense to you. So there's gold. Let's take a look at silver, and I'm going to go over to the cash market here in silver. Oh, I just lost it. Here's silver. So silver bounced off of some pretty key support here. We are and we probe through. I always love it. Always love it whenever we break through support like this and then can't get a breakdown. Similar situation happened here, right? Similar situation happened here. Okay, you get these breakdowns. You think it's breaking down, and then it's a false breakdown, and next thing you know, you reverse higher. You have a situation where the precious metals look like they could bounce, and if they bounce in precious metals, silver or gold, then you have the pound that could be a long candidate. You have the euro dollar. I think the euro, in my opinion, if you get above this 117.20. Now, why is a 117.20 such a big deal? We discussed this on the week ahead video last Sunday, and we knew why the rejection was going to happen. It rejected at the 618. So if indeed the euro dollar breaks above that 117.20, that to me is going to confirm it is time to be long the euro dollar. The euro dollar rallies, the pound dollar rallies. Right? The pound dollar rallies, gold rallies, silver rallies. This is all feeding into dollar weakness. And again, this is all this is when I'm finding multiple asset classes, multiple currency pairs all moving in the same direction. Last but not least, before I turn it over to Steve, you got the Aussie dollar that hit 127% extension. Now, this is a big deal because this 127% extension, if you guys don't remember, this was December. Right here. That was December. And man, we couldn't, for the life of me, I mean, I couldn't, and maybe you couldn't have either. I couldn't figure out why the hell the Aussie dollar was rallying for no reason going into all through December and into January. We're like, why? I don't get it. There was no real reason. Well, anyway, the Aussie broke down and we hit 127% extension, and relative strength started to diverge, right? So now we're moving lower. RSI is moving higher. That should support the Aussie. Kiwi, now Kiwi's broken below this multi-year trend line, but you know, if Kiwi closes the week and the month, today is the last day of the month. If we can close back above like 68 in the Kiwi could really, you know, show a reversal as well. I'm a little less convinced about the Kiwi because if you look at the Aussie New Zealand looks like it's going a lot higher. So, anyway, so again, I'm looking at the euro, the pound, the Aussie, and I'm looking at these precious metals. If these precious metals can hold up, you know, if these precious metals hold up here, then, you know, we have a chance of maybe seeing some near-term dollar weakness. I am not convinced, and I'm not, you know, like I said, I'm not convinced that this is what's happening, but we're starting to see the signs of it. And, you know, I don't know that the dollar has necessarily peaked and the euro is going higher. That, you know, euro's got its whole subset of issues that it's dealing with. So does the UK with Brexit. So I'm not 100% on board that this is what is happening, but I think we're starting to see some signs going into this weekend. This weekend's going to be a pretty important weekend considering the tariffs are going to be enacted. It's going to be an interesting today to see how the market responds at the end of the week, end of the month. We have a lot of end of month flows. We have tariffs that are going to be initiated on the 6th. So going into next week, so people might be a little bit more risk averse into the long weekend, knowing this is, well, it's not a long weekend. It's a weekend, but we do have the 4th of July, which is a U.S. holiday midweek next week. So a lot of stuff happening, and it's going to be, and we don't have a World Cup today, so maybe there is some more liquidity. You might have the FX market actually, most of the participants actually trying to do some business today as end of month flows come through. So we might get some more volatility than we've seen the rest of the week. With that being said, we have Canadian data, and by the way, I had a bid in the dollar Canadian overnight at 132.03, and we went as low as 132.10. I did not get triggered to get long, and I'm kind of upset about that I missed that. We do have Canadian inflation data, Canadian GDP. So Canadian GDP is coming up. We have raw materials price index and we have some inflation data coming out. And I hear Stelios. Yes, good.
Hey,
Stel.
Good morning. I was going to say we also have a core PCE index, which is the Fed's favorite inflation index. So I think that's quite important.
Income and spending coming out, and PCE. Yeah. So yeah, so some important data.
Good morning, Blake. I bet especially now that crude is going higher, PCE is even more their favorable CPI index since, you know, it's not affected by oil prices, and we've seen very clearly that, you know, they want to find any excuse to remain, you know, as dovish as possible in, you know, taking into account everything else. I mean,
true.
So yeah, so let's see. We get, as you said, Blake, we have Canadian GDP and we have the PCE data as well. Let's have a look at what we're going to get. Obviously, we're going to, yeah, Blake.
Yeah, I was saying I got to get going, but remember, guys, this is the last weekend of the low prices for ForexAnalytix. Prices do go up on Sunday or Monday. Is it Sunday or Monday? I'll let Steve clarify. Make sure you visit our webinar sponsors, Forest Park FX, for all your broker needs. For those of you that are not satisfied with your current currency broker, and TGIF, guys, I got to go. I got to trade this thing.
Hey, Blake. Okay, good luck with that, mate. So I have the USD card here, obviously, because, you know, the data we have coming out in 1 minute, you know, could affect both sides of this pair, since, you know, it might affect both US dollar and the Canadian. We have the USD yen at the bottom right, which is obviously going to reflect, you know, any data we have, you know, in regards to the PCE. So let's see what the market is going to give us.
Okay.
I think
GDP is better than expected. RMPI much better than expected, and core PCE 2% versus 1.9 expected. So
stronger PCE data. So strong US data actually strong Canadian, and as you see, the Canadian, after head faking people, is actually on its way to finally post some kind of a correction. That's what we had drawn some time ago. And if I go down to the 4-hour chart, because I actually showed this chart yesterday on in the chat room, I was showing it when we were actually breaking lower. I mean, I was viewing this potentially as a triangle that could, push higher. But once we started breaking lower yesterday, I posted this chart, because that obviously showed that something is changing here with the USD CAD. So why not? We can see a push lower towards the bottom of this channel. I bet a lot of people got trapped long, when we posted an incrementally new high a couple of days ago. So, this might lead to a deeper correction. As I was saying at the beginning of the week, the levels we should be looking for are the 131.30, which was that previous high as a first area of support. And the next one is the 130 level. This is a confluence actually of supports. It is a horizontal support area, and as you see, that would also mean that we would retest this broken trend line resistance this time, from the upside, obviously. So the 50 DMA is also converging there. So multiple areas of support at 130. Why not? It's going to be a healthy move lower. RSI was also overbought, so yeah, why not? Now, another chart I showed yesterday on the webinar, and I consider it to be quite an important chart, is this one. Sorry, on the chat room I meant, is this one. Coach, I bet that you would call this a 3-drive formation, right?
Almost.
Why? What don't you like? RSI.
No, the RSI is good, but it never made a new high yesterday.
Okay, wait a second though. I can I can actually hit you back with something. Now, what do you think?
Yeah, now qualifies.
Yeah, because this is actually the closing prices, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Oh well, I mean, sometimes that happens, and you wait for perfection, and there's times there isn't perfection, but yeah, I thought we'd take those stops out first. It's not happening, and it's possible that was it. Yeah, in fact, if you notice,
so,
even USD SEC is coming off after making a new high. Similar looking formation. If you pull it up, you'll see the magic.
I'm gonna pull it up once I'm finished with this. So we are seeing a potential ascending wedge here in the DXY. It also qualifies as a 3-drive formation if we take daily closing prices, which anyhow for me, daily closing prices are the most reliable prices to watch for, right? And we are, if we just have a look at the daily chart as we speak, we are also registering at the moment at least how price action is, and we can't be sure that that's going to be at the end of the day, but so far we are also registering an evening star formation here as a candlestick formation, and the only thing required for confirmation is breaking below this ascending trend line. Now, if that happens, I would then be expecting for a deeper pullback in the DXY, and that also bodes very well with seeing USD CAD turning around from there. That also bodes very well with, I talked about it yesterday, with the Aussie USD having hit the target, the 127.2% extension target, and seeing showing signs of a rebound from there. That also keeps for one more day the Euro USD from actually breaking down. Okay, so we're seeing here a horizontal area of support that we're still holding. Although for me, for this to mean more than that, I would probably need to, let me actually put it here. There it is. I would probably want to see something like a breakout from here, right? So I would want to see something like this. For me to be looking higher, I would want to see a breakout from there, and then we could be looking for 119.30 being tested once again. We do have RSI divergence though, and this is more than clear, right? I mean, the previous low that we had there, RSI was at 18, so greatly oversold, and currently we're seeing that RSI yesterday, for example, that it was testing more or less the same floor. RSI was at 37, so a big RSI divergence there as well. On the other hand, cable, almost made it to the next area of support. Almost, it didn't actually make it so. But as Blake showed, so I'm not going to spend more time in it. I'm also monitoring a descending wedge as well here. Obviously, a breakout from 132, 132.30 is going to be needed to get more confirmation that some kind of a bigger rebound is coming for this pair. But in general, we are seeing, decent amount of currency pairs attempting a reversal. And as Blake mentioned, and you know how closely I'm monitoring metals, and you also know, for those of you that have been here, that I actually bought the day before yesterday. I started buying gold and silver. I nibbled in like 1/4 of a position. If obviously DXY, the DXY rolls over, we should see this come through the metals as well. Gold is currently testing descending channel support. As Blake showed, there is also an ascending trend line support. According to my chart, we're actually not there yet. It's a little bit lower, but regardless. Silver, on the other hand, is showing an attempt to actually break lower from there, but I would still need to see the 1575 level be taken out, before I can actually have some confirmation there. So we might see this dollar weakness pass through the metals as well. Now, on the other hand, crude remains strong. Not a new high today, but definitely we should see some kind of a pullback sooner rather than later. I mean, worst case scenario, that should come from the 127.2% extension, which is at 75.40. There is no question here. Crude has remained extremely strong, and it has been strong even during the period that we saw dollar strength. So especially if we see dollar rolling over, that should support crude, which, any pullback towards, I don't know, the first area I would probably be looking for is this, the 69.40 area, should probably find buyers if we even make it down there, right? Now, yesterday we had a friend talking about a possible seeing some possible false breakout here, because if somebody looks at the daily RSI, let me draw it differently. There it is. So if you look at the daily RSI, we had a very strong print here, lower here, lower here. Yeah. So you can also call this a three drive formation, right, Coach?
Weekly too, possible.
Yeah. So
weekly hasn't confirmed either this move.
Yeah. So I do see this. It's not that I'm oblivious to what's happening here. I do see it, but on the other hand, I personally like three drive formations when they are also showing signs of a wedge. So, in this case, we have this, and this is more or less a parallel, right? Which isn't a formation I like to see in tops. I prefer to see some kind of this formation going along with a three drive formation,
nice
right?
Metric. Yeah, that's what you had at the high at 72.80 before the break to 64.
Exactly, and since I don't have a three drive formation in combination with my favorite topping formation, which is an ascending wedge, and since I have also I need to respect the fact that this has been a very, very well established uptrend. How do we know that? Simply because this is a series of multiple higher lows, right? And so far we've done nothing to violate that. So because of these reasons, I would not be attempting, to catch a reversal here, right? So I would still be looking to buy crude if we saw a move lower, for example, towards this area. This area was that high there. We stalled a little bit here. It was previous to the 61.8 of that move. So I would still be looking, to buy dips in crude. And as you understand, obviously, unless we get something, fundamental, especially if the dollar breaks lower, that definitely should help crude stay somewhat supported. Now, having to do with risk, I stressed out yesterday when we were actually testing that area that, 27.35 to 27.40, that was a nice area of support. There is no question about it. But, the ultimate important level having to do with the bulls that they had to actually, hold is the 26.90 area. And actually, we came down, tested that area yesterday, and we're showing a rebound from there, since then, since the lows yesterday. So I need to keep respecting the possibility of an uptrend as long as 26.90 is holding. Of course, somebody can say here that, I see the potential of a head and shoulders formation. There it is, right? There it is. And the 26.90 level, which we said how important it is in this case, it will also end up being the neckline. Fine, let it be. Let's, craft another shoulder, the right one. Let's get down to 26.90, and if we actually break below 26.90, sure, I'll be more than happy to start looking for an extension lower. Until that happens, though, I have to respect the breakout from this triangle and the fact that 26.90 is holding. As simple as that. So, I remain, let's say, roughly neutral here. Having to do with Nasdaq also holding above this trend line here. So, as long as that's the case, nothing much to do or see here. IWM obviously showing more weakness. It's actually the weaker sister here. But, I would caution once again that this broken trend line might act as support when we get down there, if we even make it down there, right? DAX, I said it yesterday, rebounding from the 12,100 area. That's a critical confluence of supports. And so far, the DAX has been holding that. And Nikkei still holding between 22,000 and 23,000. And, as long as it's stuck between there, there's nothing much you can do. And the FTSE, we said it several days ago, if you want to be, bullish, one of the indices, probably the FTSE that already completed like an A, B, C with, C being almost equal to A, looks like a good candidate, right? So FTSE might have already fulfilled a corrective move lower. So, I think it looks better than other indices at the moment. Regardless, I don't have a position currently in the indices, and I'd rather, stay cautious and, monitor for a little bit longer before I decide what I want to do here. I still think that price action is kind of mixed. By the way, I forgot to mention Euro USD on a daily, on the daily chart. This candlestick formation is also a Morningstar formation, so quite a bullish formation as well. Of course, we need to verify that by closing, higher than 116.15 roughly, at the end of the day. But still, that's quite a nice signal. Regardless, we will need, both for the cable and for the euro, we will need breaks on the equivalent formations before we can start seeing higher. And at the same time, and this is not an accident, as you see, more or less at the same time that the euro is going to be breaking higher and the cable is going to be breaking higher, if that happens, the DXY is going to be breaking lower from here. So these things are going to happen more or less together, right? And as I said, I do believe that if that gets confirmed, we will see extensions. We will see finally, perhaps, like some stronger rebounds from beaten down pairs that haven't actually managed to take a breather for quite a long time, especially the cable. It's been under severe pressure since mid-April, and it's end of June, so it's 2.5 months that already that the cable hasn't managed to take a breather. So let's see what questions we have, and I'll take it from there. Coach, do we have an interview today, by the way? Oh, yeah, let me not forget. Use the Swiss. Okay, this is what I'm monitoring in the USD Swiss. There it is. So this can end up being some kind of a corrective formation. We're getting rejected from that trend line resistance once again. If we do close above it, I think that the USD Swiss is going to extend higher, right? Until then, you have to respect two levels. One of them is this broken trend line support that a resistance that might act as support once again, and the other one, as I said, is this trend line resistance. So, we might see more choppy moves as long as we're in here. We might even see an extension lower, so one more leg lower, like an ABC or something like that, before moving higher. But bottom line, I have to be honest, I think that USD Swiss is going to break out to the upside. The question is when and from where? And the answer is that we don't know that yet, right? That's why I'm monitoring this trend line. But I would expect, an eventual break higher. So far today, even in star formation, obviously not a good sign for the bulls. Tells us that we might see one more leg lower before that actually happens. But it is one of the currency pairs I'm currently actively tracking. Hey, Dale. Dale?
Yeah. Yes, buddy.
Do we have an interview today, mate?
No, we don't, buddy.
We don't. Okay. Steve, do you think Euro USD can go up even if DAX come out of this recent bearish action? Actually, it's the exact opposite. The question here should be if I think that DAX can recover along with the Euro USD moving higher, because the Euro USD can affect the DAX's strength and not DAX affecting Euro USD strength. Yeah, it can. Definitely, it's going to be a headwind. There is no question about it. I mean, strengthening Euro will not help DAX appreciate. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. I mean, in the same logic, strengthening dollar doesn't help crude move higher, but we've had several days that crude was moving higher along with the dollar, right? So if the DAX wants to be strong, it can, move higher even with Euro USD strengthening. The only difference being is that if Euro USD was not strengthening, the DAX would be even stronger. So yes, it can happen, right? It can happen. It's definitely not impossible. Steve, the precious metals are trading horribly. Yes, so far they are trading very, very badly. I mean, they look extremely heavy. Something, you've seen me many, many times make calls having to do with things. And the vast majority of the cases, I show, absolute respect to price action, because price action very rarely lies to us. And having to do with that, I've said it every single day. Price action says that the metals want to extend their move lower. I mean, they want to remain weak. There's no question about it. This is exactly what price action tells us. There is one little thing here that troubles me, and that's why I'm staying a lot more defensive. One is my gut feeling tells me that this might be like a fake move. And two, and most importantly, is, especially if we're talking about gold and silver, is that not usually, in the vast majority of the cases, they're inversely correlated to real rates. When real rates go down, that's like nominal rates minus inflation, those are the real rates. Gold tends to move higher and vice versa. Why? Because it's the simple concept of opportunity cost. If you are holding gold doesn't have a coupon, gold doesn't have a yield, so the lower the real rates are, the less the cost of holding onto precious metals, right? This is as simple as that. The logic is as simple as that. Now,
great mentoring today, Steve. You're on fire. What? How many espressos did you have?
Actually, I only had one coffee, but it was like 1.5 hours ago. So it's still in effect. It's still in effect. And
all right, after phase closes, please send me a list of the vitamins you take.
I don't.
All right.
Actually, I don't.
All right.
my wife and son are my vitamins. They keep me on my toes.
Beautiful. All right, man.
So lately we've seen the oxymoron, real rates going down, right, and gold going down with them. That's extremely weird behavior. Now, somebody can turn around this argument and say, okay, since real rates are going down, and even that's, despite that happening, gold can't even rally. I mean, imagine what's going to happen if real rates, get a bounce. I mean, it's going to get destroyed. Sure, this might happen. That's why I've only nimbled in like with 1/4 of my regular position, and I'm definitely going to bail out if I see, gold breaking down below this, channel and the next area of support I have. But something, I've seen gold and silver being manipulated so many times, and you've seen the market in metals, throw traders out of positions just before they turn. That I just feel I want to have some exposure. It's as simple as that. I'm not advocating that somebody should follow in because, as you said, they don't look good. I'll admit to that, but it's just my gut feeling. Ziggy says Steve takes 600 milligrams Viagra. Ziggy, I'll ask you a question, my friend. And by the way, I'm joking to Ziggy, right? He's a friend he's in our chat room. He's one of our most active members. So how do you know in what kind of versions do they actually make Viagra, mate? Because personally, I don't know because I never had to ask for it. But I'm wondering how you know.
Oh, you busted, you busted, bro. Huh? All I want to know is, did you get more than a headache when you took that much?
He's laughing.
I'm a contemporary. Huh? Did that work for you?
Okay. We have a friend here asking for the Aussie Kiwi. The day before yesterday was actually the day that I realized that Aussie Kiwi was just correcting lower and it's moving to new highs, because until yesterday, because until the day before yesterday, we had this channel, and look at the price action that we had 2 days ago. We had a very nice bullish candle here, and then by the end of the day, we had given up the vast majority of the profits, left behind a very long upper wick, and stayed within the channel. So up until that point, there was a good possibility that this would end up being a reversal candle, and we could see another move to the downside. And then the next day comes, and not only we slice through this channel, but we do it in the most emphatic way possible, right? I mean, this was a huge white candle that followed. It sliced through the 50 DMA, the channel, the 200 DMA. So, at that point, more or less, you can be convinced that there is an extension coming here. Might be an equality extension from here. Sure, it might, which points up there, right? So I would be looking, this is exactly what we drew yesterday. I would be looking for an extension at the 78.6. Equality target from the previous move higher is also almost there. It's just, it's just like, what is it? 17 bips higher, whatever it is. Not even actually. Sorry. Yeah, it's less than that. So you see, I think we can easily, push to new highs, and that's why I said yesterday that be very careful here, because that tells us that we might have now a period that Aussie will be overperforming Kiwi, right? So you have to take that into account whenever you're taking your decision. For example, let's say that you want to trade either Aussie or Kiwi to the upside. First of all, Aussie hit the target that we had in mind, which is one positive. Second of all, you can expect it to perhaps overperform Kiwi. Just look how much better Aussie is doing in comparison to Kiwi. Kiwi is now breaking to new lows. Aussie isn't. Kiwi is higher today. Aussie is higher today. Kiwi is just posting a spinning top. So obviously, you have to take that into account, whichever pair you want to trade. Same deal. Aussie yen rebounding higher to retest this broken channel once again. On the other hand, Kiwi yen doesn't really show much of an attempt to rebound, right? It's a spinning top as well here today. So, and it's still like below the previous lows, and as you see, no real area of support. So, keep those things. Yes, Elio?
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make a comment. It's almost as if the market kind of picks a particular currency. Like, for example, the last few weeks you've been saying, if I want to be short Aussie or Kiwi, I want to be short Aussie. The market was treating it really badly compared to Kiwi, and now suddenly it's reversed. And I've been trying to figure out why, and I don't see anything, from a fundamental analysis or more macro view. Nothing has changed over the past 2 or 3 or 4 months. So I don't know if you think something changed, but it just strikes me that the market just picks one and then starts to hammer it, and then goes to the other one, and then goes to the other one, etc. It's odd.
Yeah, and something, you can't actually draw like a real conclusion, because if you actually check at the Aussie Kiwi and we zoom out, right, here it is. What does this market show to us? That actually the two of them, they might be having some sharp moves up or down, but on average,
basically,
on average, it's one and the same. I mean, they might be having periods that one is overperforming the other and then vice versa, but bottom line, since 2013, they've just been coiling in a large symmetrical triangle. So, if I had to choose, if I would want to be long or short one of them in the long term, I would probably have no reason to do one or the other. Of course, somebody can easily say here that, listen, this is a triangle. Yes, it is. Okay. So how did we enter this triangle? Coming from, the upside to the downside. So how is it more likely that this triangle is going to get resolved? Answer, most likely to the downside. Yeah, most likely to the downside. But this has been a symmetrical triangle that's been here with us since September 2013. So who knows? Might take another 2 years, right? And the range is still rather large. So, we might end up consolidating for months and months to come. Like, for example, the euro pound. And, speaking of the euro pound, let me show the euro pound, because the euro pound is showing some signs of life. There is no question about it, but there it is. So euro pound showing some signs of life, but remember how many times people were looking for a breakout here since we actually came in this descending channel, which was like September 2017, and it's already been like, what is it? Like 9 months, roughly 10 months almost, that we've been trading within that, and we haven't seen any major breakouts yet, right? So we are seeing some signs of life, and we might finally see a breakout, but until it happens, I'm extremely skeptical.
How about a quick take on stock indexes, Steve? Did you cover them?
Yeah, I did. All of them. Actually.
Okay.
By the way, there's a question. There's a question by a friend, Stanley, who says, hi, I'm new to markets, just want to understand what the brown horizontal channels signify. So basically, these are just areas where the index seems to find either difficulty going higher or lower. So basically, they're support and resistance areas. And
or you can call them demand and supply zones, because think about it. What is support? What is resistance in the price? They are areas, exactly, they are areas that investors seem to want to commit one way or another. And that's why,
you know what the difference is, buddy? The difference is Online Trading Academy, OTA, just changed the words from support resistance to supply and demand and charge 20 grand to teach it. That's the difference. All right, and people pay it, okay? Anyway, because so they could pay for their commercials to change everyone's lifestyle. All right, anyway, that's a little truth in advertising.
So bottom line, those are support and resistance areas that, they tend more frequently than not to affect the way an instrument is trading when it passes through them. So, for example, it can make it tough for an instrument to break through them, much tougher than other, levels. And, the market has proven multiple times that in quotes, it has memory. So it remembers important levels even from several months, sometimes even several years in the past. So it's a good idea to always do your analysis by starting from a top-down analysis. I mean, looking at the bigger picture, identifying zones that have played multiple times a role, and then zoom in and have a look at the shorter-term charts. It's like you can't watch a football game just by having a camera follow the player that has the ball, right? Because you actually have no idea what's happening in the game. It's the same deal with charts. I mean, you have to always start from the top down, have an idea what's happening with a monthly, with a weekly, and obviously you don't have to be looking at a monthly or a weekly chart every single day because they won't change intraday, right? So, for example, having a look at the monthly chart a couple of times per month, having a look at the weekly chart a couple of times per week, right? Not more than that is needed. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely don't just use a microscope.
Yeah, definitely. Because
in fact, that reminds me that, you have to do that to see Forest Park FX from the trees.
Very true.
I can't see Forest Park FX from the trees using 15-minute charts. And you know what, Steve? I know you want to talk about this. I just have one story to say in honor of gold having a heartbeat today, and about what I said earlier is if you spend your whole life trying not to pay for anything, you'll have a hard time getting paid. There was this guy who knew he was terminal, he was going to die, and he didn't want to leave a dime to his kids. So he liquidated all of his assets and converted it into gold bars. And the angel said, you can't bring a suitcase with you to heaven. He goes, well, try and arrange it. So angel came back and said, you could. So the guy passes away, he's at the gate, and St. Peter goes, hey, let me take a look at what you have in your suitcase. And the guy opens the suitcase, and St. Peter says, why did you bring pavement?
That's really good.
That's very, very good.
I thought you'd like that one. Yeah, he thought he had, he hoarded everything his whole life, and all he had was a bunch of concrete in his luggage. All right.
By the way, let me go through here and say the following. We haven't announced officially our new prices, but I can do that now. And let me tell you that you have up until Monday to capture. We only offer until then our tier 3 plan, but what you can get and lock in prices from all the existing users and people that are going to get a subscription with us until including Monday, you lock in current prices even if only the tier 3 is on offer now. Tier 3 is currently $89 per month. Starting Tuesday, that's going to be $119 per month. And, equivalent changes in the semi-annual and annual. So, and the tier 1 is going to be starting from $99. So you have an opportunity to lock in, for as long as you want to be subscribers to ForexAnalytix, tier 3 in better prices than you will be able to get tier 1 starting on Tuesday. So I think this is a good opportunity. And let me add to that going through our reimbursement program and Forest Park FX, which is an amazing company to help you change or find the broker that actually fits your needs and saves you money in the end. And they're willing to do that for you, even if you don't decide to go through our reimbursement plan. This way you can also subsidize further your account with ForexAnalytix. So I think this is a golden opportunity for you to take advantage of the following few days and to join us. This way you can also join our chat room. You'll have all of our analysis. Oh, come on. All of our analysis, harmonics, Elliott waves, basic technical, candlesticks, macro, tablet application, mobile application, alerts, everything. So
yes, don't try and climb a mountain or cross the sea without a guide. So retain us as your guides. We'll get you there.
Nice. I like that.
All right, guys. Great
week. Have a great weekend. Have
You
a great
have a
weekend.
great weekend too. I guess there's soccer on all weekend. I mean football.
Yeah, we're going to have plenty of that.
Yes.
Okay, I know Steve bets big on these games, so he scares his kids when it's Jason when he wins. He screams, and Jason doesn't know what's going on. So, Stell, have a great weekend. Face,
You too,
all of
Greg.
our subscribers, thank you very much for supporting us. We're looking forward to, I don't know, at least another 50 or so of you joining us during this promotion that ends early next week. And enjoy your weekend. This is a great time to learn to navigate around the site. It's really, besides a lot of money, Steve put his heart and soul with the coders to upgrade it. And I'll see everyone Monday, a couple of days before the holiday. And don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See you, team. See you, Warriors. Have a great weekend. Adios. Join now. Right now.